Hey everybody, Dr. Nathan Thompson here with the Wellness Way Yorkville, going live early. I will be going live later on tonight, just as an FYI, but had a little bit extra time, so I wanted to go live and answer some questions to give you guys a little bit of value. So I'll turn the camera here. We have in the background, we have Leanne. Sorry, Leanne.
Okay. That's all right.
But she's the mastermind behind a lot of things. And we are going live on Instagram right now too, right?
Yes,
Okay.
we are. Yep.
Yes. All right. So good to see all of you guys. We got a little bit of time. I'd say about 30 minutes to do a live question and answer. And I will also answer some questions tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night, but tonight at probably about 6:30 or 6:45. So you can join me on that as well. I will be going over some things in regards to skin, the holidays, things like that. So during this time that I am live, if you got a question, go ahead and ask that for a chance for me to answer. I apologize if you're coming in and watching it after the fact. Everybody tries to sneak a question in after that. I'm like, you got to catch me live. So catch me live. And otherwise, problem is I have so many people who come back and ask questions all the time, and you know, I just don't have time to go and answer people's questions all the time. So I apologize. I don't have time, but I also have other priorities. So yeah, my time is limited. So I'm getting spending some time with you right now. So if you got a question, go ahead and type it into the chat. And if you're also watching, just go ahead, say hello. Let me know also where you're watching from so I can say hello to you. And I get a chance to know all the wonderful people that watch us. There's a lot of people from all across the world, that watch our live broadcasts. Did you watch Dr. Patrick Flynn's live broadcast on the HPV vaccine?
I caught half of it. I got to rush the other half.
Yep. Oh man, I did, and got into an argument with a with a guy. He's like, he didn't even watch it, but he just wanted to assume it was all just, a bunch of baloney, and whatnot. So I told him, just remember, we talked about this. Am I nice? Am I nice?
No.
No. Am I kind?
You're kind.
Yeah. What's the difference? What's the difference?
Kind is telling somebody that they need to do something.
Kind is telling people the truth. Nice is just always telling them good things and lying to their face. Yep. So this is why I don't like nice people. Like, oh, they're nice. I'm like, yeah, I know a lot of nice people that just lie to your face just to tickle your ears.
Right.
But I was very kind, but not nice. I told him. I won't even say what I said.
Now we're all going to search back and look.
No, you won't be able to find it. I just told him his comment reeks of a Corvette and Brute. But it's true. It is true. So, all right, guys, if you got a question, let me know. Let me know what you got. And I know we have. I'm going to pronounce this probably incorrectly. Towson from Michigan. Very nice to see you on here right now. I appreciate you being on. From Michigan, let me know from Michigan specifically you're from. Also, let me know if you're a Wellness Way patient, because I know there's some good doctors that are in the Michigan area. Dr. Gatesmeyer, who is in Grand Rapids, I believe, is a really, really awesome guy. So, all right, guys. So let's do a little bit of question and answer. And when you get a question and answer from Instagram, just let me know, and I'll do my best in order to answer. So we are right now just broadcasting live to Facebook, to YouTube, and also to Instagram right now. So, yep. Question.
Question is, should I get adjusted?
All right. Should I get adjusted? The answer is probably, and here's one of the reasons why. It's interesting. If you look at X-rays, just remember this: there is an anatomical normal where your spine needs to be at. And who says so? Look up any book of anatomy, and you'll notice when you look at it, they all draw it the same. They all make it the same. From the side, you need 3 curves. You need technically a 45-degree lordosis in your neck. You need a 45-degree kyphosis in your middle back, and a anywhere from a 34 to 45-degree lordosis in your lower part of the spine, depending on if you're taking the x-ray sitting or standing or things like that. And one of the reasons why is the spine is anatomically, number one, way stronger when you have those curves. You know that? It's really amazing because I took a lot of advanced stuff when it comes to spinal mechanics and things like that. And the spine is in its strongest when it's in a right triangle, meaning a 45-degree curve, 45-degree curve, and 90-degree curve. And in fact, if you look at engineering, bridges, the spokes on a wheel are all designed at a right triangle. And so even the spine is designed at that. So when you talk about strength, that having a curve will make it significantly stronger, 13 times stronger, in fact. But the other thing too is if you look at the spinal cord is tethered or it's attached at the brain, at the very top part of the neck, at the occiput, and it's tethered down at T12, which means it's attached to two areas. So anytime that you're losing curves, you're just lengthening the spinal cord, which will cause stretching of the spinal cord. One of the things that's just really interesting is, I had a woman who came in who was in a really bad, she said, I was in a really bad car accident when I was 5 years of age. And consequently, she also had a pretty substantial scoliosis in the lower part of the spine down to the lumbar spine. And I explained this to her because as soon as you have a head injury or a neck injury at a young age, immediately you'll start to put a lot of tension on the spinal cord. And the problem is now the body is still growing. And so it will grow to try to adapt into that. And so it adapted into putting curves in from the front because you didn't have it from the side in order to try to take some stretching off the spinal cord. And so the body will always try to do that to put some slack into the spinal cord because tension on the spinal cord is not good. And but here's what's also pretty amazing about the body is, do you know that a curve, if it's around the heart, do you know the spine will always curve away from the heart? It never curves into a vital organ like the heart. So it'll never go into it unless there's some kind of weird tumor that's going on. But it always curves around the heart. And so that's why when you look at scoliosis, you have to look at it like, why is the body trying to adapt this way? And I think a lot of the reasons why people start to get, a scoliotic curve in through the spine can be due to a lot of things. It can be a leg length, but it can also be due to what's happening in the upper part of the neck. If you've had a significant amount of birth trauma, or you had, any kind of head trauma that caused a whiplash injury at a very young age, that would put a lot of tension on the spinal cord. Well, while the body is still growing, it can try to take some of that tension off. And so if you can't get it back by doing this, well, they can start putting curves in at different parts in order to try to take a lot of tension off of the spinal cord. So maybe instead of trying to, defeat it, and you do have to work on correcting that. But did you know adjusting really won't do anything for a scoliosis? No, once it gets that way, you should probably, be looking into at a certain degree, like it's not even something that I will even touch. I'll send them to a Clear Institute certified chiropractor who has taken extensive things on curve correction and things like that. So many times I'll say you need to go up to Wheaton, to Dr. Mark Myers, who has multiple Clear Institute certifications, and he's one of the best at actually helping with curves and things like that. But you can't get it back unless you actually put the normal curve in through the neck. So when you say who should get adjusted, I think everybody to some degree would benefit from doing that. But this is why I hate the idea of treatment. Everybody thinks, well, you see it going on and just wait until it starts screaming at you to do something about it. I'm like, well, you see that there's a problem that's developing. When would you want to handle it? When it's, in its initial stages, or when it's too far gone? There's people who come in that they're just way too far gone. I'm like, you're not going to be able to recover from this. Anything that I do is just going to be palliative. Yeah. And so, but if you would have caught it 25 or 30 years ago, you could have done something pretty substantial in order to help to get it corrected. So I think the having, I think that the direction, the frequency, the force of getting adjustments will be different for everybody. Mm-hmm. But, anybody to have a normal functioning spine, nerve system, things like that is very important, because it's not just a bunch of joints. It's a lot of proprioceptive input that's going back to the brain too. So, yep. Another question?
Yeah. Since we're talking about chiropractic adjustments, Does a chiropractic adjustment help with pain?
Um, Not necessarily acute pain. I'll give you a perfect example. I probably already told you this, but what did I do last night?
Hurt your back?
I hurt my back. Yep. And before you laugh in the chat comments, remember this: I'm human. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. What
People
were you
think
doing when you hurt your back, though?
I was deadlifting.
Mhm.
Okay, I was deadlifting, which is a great exercise.
Yes.
But the problem is anytime that I hurt myself, and I haven't hurt myself for probably 3 or 4 years,
Yeah.
but I did hurt myself deadlifting, and here's one of the reasons why. My spine was pretty stiff when it came in, and that's why you can't have a spine that's very stiff. And so I warmed up, but I didn't do a full warm up. And then I was like, I want to get up to this amount of point, so I kind of hurried it along. And so I I just I didn't warm the discs up enough in order to make them pretty pliable and pretty loose, and they felt really stiff. And then I was pulling on my maybe fourth set, just pulled, and then boom, something just snapped, and then immediately I just had to drop it. But now, have I gotten adjusted today? Yeah. And guess what? It doesn't take away acute pain. This is just the weird thing that I think, and I think it's just been marketed, all wrong, is that if you have an acute injury, a chiropractic adjustment isn't going to make the acute pain go away. You have to go through the acute inflammatory process, which can take, anywhere from 7 to 14 days, depending on really how inflamed you are. And I think if you have a starting point of not being very inflamed, it will resolve a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But I've been adjusted today, and not to take away pain, but to keep it moving.
Right.
Try to keep it moving the way that's supposed to. That's why early movement is very key in order to help a joint to be able to recover and repair the way that it's supposed to. But I don't care how you cut the cake. It's not going away, just by adjusting it. Now, can it help with chronic pain? Absolutely. I've had people come in with, months and months of chronic pain, and you get it to start moving again, start moving correctly. And, then it resolves, a lot of chronic pain that's going on. But also you can get to a certain point where it becomes so chronic that it can become very permanent. And this is why it's like, there's nothing wrong with getting things to move and doing an analysis to see what's moving, what's not moving, and getting things to start to move correctly. So, but it's not going to take away acute pain. That's why I love people like, oh, I hurt my back. And then, they start getting adjusted. The chiropractor's like, come back every day. And then all of a sudden by like day 7, it's like, it went away. Yeah. Thanks, chiropractor. And I'm like, they didn't do that, and so I think that's kind of the dirty secret of chiropractic. But I've seen the things that I have seen are just, like, just by adjusting is incredible. Mm-hmm. Have I seen changes in blood sugar? Yes. Have I seen people's acid reflux go away? Yes. Have I seen people have the ability to be able to get pregnant? Yes. I've seen all of those different things. Or be able to have a bowel movement. So I've seen all those things that are going on. Like, well, people may ask, well, why didn't it happen for me? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Look at the skill of who was adjusting you, number one. But then number two, you also have to look at, maybe you have to think, maybe neurologically that wasn't the biggest driver. So that's why you always have to look at physical, mental, chemical, physical, mental, chemical. I've had people say, oh, my joint pain's so much better, and I've never adjusted them. So you have to look at physical, mental, chemical, physical, mental, chemical, physical, mental, chemical. But the problem is that we don't address really the physical pretty much at all until it starts barking at us. And that's why I say, quit being a flag that's just getting blown in all these different directions, and you have to focus on building health, work on building health physically, chemically, and mentally. So you have to be able to do all of that. So, but can a chiropractic adjustment help with acute pain? No, I wouldn't say that it does. You have to go through kind of the full acute inflammatory process. But does that mean, will I adjust them when they're acute? Yes. Absolutely. Start getting movement so they don't have a big, evagination of scar tissue and things like that leaves it afterwards, in which it's healed, but now it's stiff and it's not moving, just setting yourself up for another injury. Right. Yep. All right. Any questions?
Super.
All right. So Facebook right now, if you have a question, or on YouTube, if you have a question right now, please ask that question. We'll only answer questions while we're on the live broadcast. So I'm not going to go back and try to answer a bunch of questions. And so you guys got me for the next probably 15 or 20 more minutes. All right.
Instagram too over here.
Yeah. Also on Instagram.
We do have some fun events coming up here for the holiday seasons. Do you want to talk about that?
Remind me.
Well, we got Thanksgiving coming up. We're doing an in-office. So if you're local and you're a current patient, we're doing a spin the wheel for the week of Thanksgiving. So
nice.
Just to be thankful for all of our patients that are coming here in person and things like that.
Yes, so. we are thankful for everybody too. No doubt about it. I'm thankful for 95% of my patients.
That's a good answer. 95%. That's pretty good. I do have a question over here.
Okay, go ahead, shoot.
What supplements do you recommend for treating or supporting healing from lichen planus?
From what?
Lichen planus. Lichen planus. PLANUS.
I'm gonna know. I know what this. Lichen planus. Okay. All right. So, there's occasionally when someone will come and they'll ask a question, and they'll give me the abbreviation for it.
Yeah.
Like, what? I have APL 257F3. I'm like, what? Yeah. Lichen planus is basically it's a skin condition. However, I've had people come in with some really weird skin conditions that are going on, and anytime that you see something happening from the skin, because I'm going to answer this question this live video on a live Q&A coming up in a little bit, because everybody asks, how do I improve my skin? Mm-hmm. Well, if you look at it from a Swiss watch principle, the skin, if you want to improve your skin, improve what can be irritating the immune system. Mm-hmm. And that's why you have to start looking at all the other barriers, in which the immune system is sitting around. And so that's why anytime if you talk about better skin, I want you to talk about better gastrointestinal health. So no doubt about it. And I had a woman who had basically purple spots all over her body. And when we started addressing gastrointestinal health, it all cleared up. And she thought I was some kind of witch doctor, But anytime anybody's, having some issues with something that affects the skin, you always want to look at other barriers, and that's why the gastrointestinal system can be very, very important. So, but when people are saying, what kind of supplements do I need to take? I really do hate that question. I really do. Although I love the person, but I hate the question because it just shows me how you're thinking, meaning I must be missing something. And the reality is I don't know if you're missing something, I could give you a list of 19,000 different things, and then you're going to write it down. You're going to go take it, and then you're like, "Oh, it didn't work." I'm like, "It's because I don't have any testing, with you." Yeah, you could do a betaine hydrochloric acid. It might be Oregon grape. It might, I don't know. I don't know. Even you might need better barrier function. You might need better. Yeah, I mean, there's just a million things. It's just tough to say, in order for. But this is why we'll go off of testing, and then support. After that, based off of testing.
How do you test the GI system?
Get a functional stool test done. I would probably be looking at foods and look at a functional stool test, because a functional stool test is looking at stomach acid. It's looking at the secretion of pancreatic enzymes. It's looking at, if you have enough bile that's being released from your gallbladder. And then it's looking at barrier inflammation. Then it's looking at the presence of any kind of infection or any kind of overgrowth, even of commensal bacteria, yeast, or anything like that. And then, one of the first things you always have to do is you got to handle infection that's going on. And then that can be highly dependent on the type of infection, because there are only certain bacteria that will respond to certain things, whether that's uva ursi, whether that's, Oregon grape, or whether it's golden seal or wormwood or whatever it might be. However, people are going to run and they're going to take that. And I'm like, there's, only certain things where I only want you on it for a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
So
she's asking who reviews the tests.
A Wellness Way doctor. Work with the Wellness Way doctor too. So, if you are from, go to wellnessway.com and then, you can find a doctor, see who you're closest to, and then you could either see them in person, or I think most of them do work remotely. And I do work remotely, but it's just for men right now. Mm-hmm. Isn't that a shampoo or something just for men? Or it's a hair coloring or something like that? That was just really bad. Really bad. Right. So it's it's just, you just have to get the appropriate testing done. And I know I always see, Wellness Way doctors, and they're reviewing a test on somebody, and someone's like, how do I get my doctor to review this test? I'm like, it's not that you get the test. It's like, what are you going to do with it?
Right.
And the problem is, if you had an MD looking at a functional stool test from Genova, they're going to look at this and they're like, I really don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And because really it's not what their training is. Now you have to understand, you can't be mad at your medical doctor. Someone goes in, they go to the emergency room because they're having some kind of gastrointestinal issue. And they sent me home. They didn't do anything. It's like, well, yeah, they kind of did. They made sure that you didn't have some kind of ulceration, perforation, infection, or something that could kill you. Yeah. And that's their job. Their job is to figure out if something is going to kill you or not. Their job is not to build your health. Right. Their job is to not. So there's just a big difference between the two, mm-hmm. Right?
What's your opinion on elderberry supplements?
Love them. I love elderberry, although I don't take it. Yeah. My kids they don't really take it, but elderberry is good, and it's a high vitamin C, supplement, and also there's some things that will have some antiviral type properties to it. So, but do I take it every day? No, I don't. Have I taken it? Yes. Mm-hmm. Although I do take some things in order to help make sure that I'm building up immune system response. Do I take vitamin D every day?
Yes.
Yes, I do take vitamin D every day. And then also every day I do take medicinal mushrooms. So I do take reishi, I do take chaga.
I give elderberry to my kids when they're sick. Or before school starts, sometimes I'll give them a week's worth of elderberry.
Yeah. So, but is it is it something that my youngest, who's 2.5 years of age, does he take any supplements? No, he really doesn't. Mm-hmm. So he gets adjusted. The biggest thing that's amazing is I'm not afraid of him getting sick. What I'm afraid of him is being immunocompromised. Right. So we just don't do anything to slam his immune system to make him become immunocompromised or poison him, which is going to be the whats as well. So mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't poison him, at all. He does awesome and fantastic. You know what? When he was, 18 months old, he had whooping cough.
Yeah. I remember that.
So did I. I've been vaccinated against it. That turned into a 10-day cough. He was running around as if nothing happened. Me, on the other hand, it turned into a 100-day cough. It was pretty brutal. And which makes me wonder, why didn't I just get it when I was young? So yeah. I would have done much better with it. So, yep. But elderberry, yeah, it's great. But does every single child need to be on it? Not necessarily. You get some testing done, see if they have some issues with being immunocompromised. But I do take things in order to help support my immune system, and they are medicinal mushrooms. Go back and watch Dr. Patrick Flynn talked about the HPV vaccine, and then talked about the human papillomavirus, and he talked about, because if someone has HPV, is that a guarantee that they're going to have cervical cancer? No. Not at all. Nope. Who are the ones that are developing into cervical cancer? The ones who are immunocompromised, that allows for the virus to make changes within the tissue that will start to do that. But it's more about being immunocompromised more than anything else. And this is why, if you look at active hexose correlated compound, AHCC, they're studying this at the University of Texas, University of Texas. Oh, what town is it? It's off the top of my head. They looked at this at the University of Texas. And I've done a live video on this, on the location of where the study was done. I know it was a University of Texas, but they looked at, the role. No, they looked at the role of AHCC, and they said, when we were giving people who had HPV, we were giving this, they saw that not only did they not just carry the virus, but some of them were actually clearing it out completely. And that's the thing, is they'll never tell you that. They'll never. You would think that this would be frontline news, but I want you to think of this: is if it came out that a medicinal mushroom was actually safer and more effective than the HPV vaccine, do you think Big Pharma would allow that?
Never.
Oh, hell no.
Never.
So no, they wouldn't. In fact, that's why, if you want to, if you really wanted to destroy anything with a different perspective, is just start brainwashing the future medical doctors. And that's what they did, is that they started brainwashing the future medical doctors very early in medical school. And in order to give them a distaste of doing things that, of what I do or what from chiropractors do, and give them a healthy distaste. And, it's almost like me teaching my youngest son to be a racist.
Right.
And so many times people they're like, well, why do you hate this demographic? They're like, I hate them. And they're like, well, why? I don't know. That's just what I was taught. And so they're taught to hate. They really are. And they never do any kind of investigation or anything like that into it. And so they just, keep spewing a bunch of junk. But yeah, look up. Did you see the University of Texas? Oh, it was on the
HPV, right?
Yeah. Just type in HPV
study.
But it was at the University of Texas, and man, they had great success with medicinal mushrooms and helping to clear out HPV infections. So very important. So I'll see if I can look it up.
You'll know what it looks like before I do. But you are going live again tonight.
Yes.
6:30, 6:45 tonight.
Yeah, right around that time. Mm-hmm. This is at University of Texas Health. I looked at the initial study of it. I know it was a Texas university, and when they came out with that, I was like, wow, this is absolutely profound. And then I wonder who's going to try to make this go away. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So wouldn't that be amazing? Because like the manufacturer of of Gardasil, which is the HPV vaccine, which is Merck.
Yeah.
It's like not plain water, by the way. It's so amazing, as Merck has been a habitual offender of doing some really shady things. And I think that, whether it's Gardasil or whether it's Vioxx, the pain medication, they said caused 144,000 deaths. And and Novo Nordisk too, habitual offender. Pfizer, habitual offender. I mean, they've been fined billions and billions of dollars, and hiding information that literally has killed people, and they get fined for it. Yeah. And so, if you had a chiropractor who came in, who, let's say, was abusing Medicare or had Medicare fraud, and let's say it's $2 million, man, I tell you what, every news organization would be front and center with all of that. Yeah. And people are like, oh yeah, I told you stuff. And then you got Big Pharma, who does it habitually, and it's not like one time, it is all the time, and then people just forget about it. Right. It's almost like they fall in love with their captors. Yeah. We call it Stockholm syndrome. It's called Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. When someone falls in love with their captor. the person that has kidnapped them and abused them. So that happened during COVID. Yep. People develop Stockholm syndrome. They're like, oh, governor, tell us how you can destroy us, please. We love it so much. It almost got to be comical. It's like, yes, can you please destroy our rights even more, please? Yeah, make us wear a mask. That's not enough. Can you do something else? Can you take away half of my income? Well, yeah, Illinois does that.
Yeah, they do that already.
Thanks, Pritzker.
Oh,
yeah, it is just like, oh my goodness. So yeah, it gets to be pretty frustrating, to say the least. Did you hear actually what Pritzker said?
About what?
About Trump. He told him to F off or something, back the F up.
Yeah.
I'm like,
about the whole.
It's just amazing. And one of the things a lot of people don't know, and if this makes you unfollow me, then I don't care.
Yeah.
But back, when it was about 4 years ago, with all the COV, et cetera, madness that was going on, what they were doing in kids' schools, I sued the governor, and won, which made them right after the next day, boop, take all the masks off of the kids. This is just kabuki theater. It's, and, rather than say, yes, the law has been upheld, this guy said, it's nothing but a bunch of grifters and, right-wing parents. I mean, like, this is what he said. This is what he thinks of the constituents. And then he said, I'm running for another term. And I was like, fake news. He hasn't run except to the refrigerator. That's the only time he's actually run. Okay. Remember, I'm kind, but not necessarily nice.
Yeah.
It's true, right?
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
I'm running for another term. Fake news. He's never run except to the buffet table. I've seen it. Somebody tag Governor Pritzker on this one. All right.
Can I do it?
Sure. You can go ahead and do it. What's he going to do? Eat me? I mean, what's here?
Okay.
All right. So from YouTube, we do have a question. Let me see if we can bring this up. Is there a specific mushroom that you named? It's not a specific mushroom, but it's in specific mushrooms, active hexose correlated compound, AHCC. And I think it can be found in a shiitake mushroom, but there is also some pretty awesome medicinal mushrooms that can have a pretty profound effect on the immune system. I do take mushrooms every day. So I do take chaga. I do take reishi. Yes, they help facilitate a healthy environment for stem cells to mature into, like your CD8 cells and things, T cells, because they mature within the thymus. But the other thing too is what a lot of people don't realize is some mushrooms can act as like prebiotics. And prebiotics, everyone talks about probiotics and prebiotics. Prebiotics are just the food for the probiotics to be able to grow. So just for the bacteria to grow. So that's why, like fiber would be considered a prebiotic, because they're just providing food in order for these bacteria to grow. So that's why, am I a fan of fiber?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. If you're a carnivore, you need fiber, guys. There's no doubt about it. So am I a fan of the carnivore diet? Depends. I don't think you should do it long term, but I do think that people do need fiber. And here's one of the reasons why. Okay, why you need fiber, because you need a healthy level of bacteria within the colon. But in order to establish healthy bacteria, you also need good stomach acid, good bile acid secretion from the gallbladder. So you need all of that. And then, you also need to be uninflamed. And then you need to have a good environment for these bacteria to grow. But then you need to be feeding it. Okay. So you need to be feeding it and giving it food. And the food for this is actually going to be fiber. And so they, in turn, the bacteria take the fiber, they metabolize it. And then these bacteria, what they give is they give off something known as short chain fatty acids. One of the most important ones is butyrate, which helps with energy regulation. And in fact, it's good for good colon health is, butyrate. And the problem is that you can measure it on a stool test, but just a lot of people just don't realize the importance or why, why that can be so important. Okay. All right. So Paul from YouTube said, I've been battling with Candida for 5+ years, try to change diet, reduce sugar, and I realize it's a gut issue. But how do you reset it? Okay. The first thing that I would say is make sure that it is in fact Candida. In fact, you can get a stool test, and I've seen some people with very, very high Candida levels. But this is why I always say you really do have to test it. You have to test and you have to see. But Candida actually is normal to be in small amounts. Just like, you don't have a sterile gastrointestinal system. It's very normal to have certain bacteria. That's why you call it commensal bacteria. And so it's normal to have a small amount of yeast or Candida within the gastrointestinal system. Can it overgrow though?
Yeah.
Absolutely, it can overgrow. And if you have labs to show that it has in fact overgrown, do you need to reduce your sugar intake? Yes, absolutely. But this is why change it from the top up. This is why I'd say, what's your stomach acid look like? And how much sugar are you getting? But there are some things that can help to kill off. And I've had people who have, gone on an extreme, like no sugar diet, giving them high dose of wormwood. And man, they were just pooping yeast out like crazy. And so that's why it's more of an issue than just like maybe necessarily changing your diet. That's why you have to look at it like Swiss watch. You got to look at physical stressors, chemical, mental stressors too, that's going on. And so that's why I would say stomach acid is very important. But yeah, this is why wormwood could be very beneficial. But the problem is you don't want to be on wormwood for a year.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I would say no more than 2-3 months be on wormwood, because that can cause some mental issues, with it, being on wormwood for a long period of time. So, but that's a great question. I would reach out, Paul, to a Wellness Way doctor, get a stool test done, try to dive into kind of why some of these things are actually happening. Okay. Question.
Hello, Dr. Thompson. What is your take on ivermectin, mebendazole for cancer treatments / adjuvant therapy?
For cancer, what, fenbendazole or something? Yeah.
She put mebendazole or ivermectin.
Yeah. Let me answer that really quick. You're trying to treat it as if it's a parasite, and that's what some people say. Look, all cancer is a parasite, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's a normal cell that's turned abnormal and raises a flag that says, hey, I'm cancerous now. It just so happens you'll have certain immune system cells, like eosinophils or stuff that make it look like it is that it is a parasite. So what I'm a fan of most, first and foremost, is get your immune system up. Get your immune system up, because people with cancer or anything like that, I guarantee they have something missing with their immune system. Get an immune system panel done first and foremost, and kind of see what's going on. I had a gentleman that came in with cancer. He had a rare type of weird skin lymphoma. Did an immune panel on, and man, his immune system was absolutely tanked. So do you think that we're feeding him high amounts of things in order to get his immune system up? Yes. And he's doing amazing. He's doing fantastic. Do we treat cancer? Absolutely not. It's like medicine doesn't have a patent on getting a person's health back.
Right.
And so do we treat it? No, we're supporting his body. So that's the biggest difference between the two. So, all right. So I have from Misha. Do you have any advice on MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome? I would say, with MCAS, and this is not knowing anything about you or anything like that, but have we had people who have came in, who have had some issues with MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome? I did a live video on it about probably maybe a month ago, about the mast cells and what you can do in order to calm that down. Mast cells are just doing their job. That's the thing. And mast cells are primarily around the gastrointestinal system. So if anybody's got any issue with MCAS or anything like that, the first thing I would look at is look into the possibility of mold man, mold, I would actually look at too, because sometimes the mold can be coming from breast implant illness. But I would look at mold in your environment would be, one of the things, because that can really start to irritate mast cells. Probably get a stool test as well. But it's just it's a tough thing, and it's not an answer that can be like, oh yeah, you just need tons of Albizia. That's all that you need, and that's going to put you over the top, because it's not the case. You need proper testing done. So that's a good question, Misha. Thanks for asking that. Yep. Other question.
Katie says, any suggestions for her son? He's age 8, lingering postnasal drip cough, wakes up coughing, can hear congestion. Doctor says allergies, take Zyrtec, but she's not comfortable giving him Zyrtec daily.
So this is an 8-year-old. He's got a lot of phlegm and stuff, postnasal drip, things like that.
Drip,
yeah.
She can hear congestion, coughing, wakes up in the
night. Well, one of the first things that I would do if this is in an 8-year-old, I would test for foods and test the stool test, to kind of see what's going on. Can it be an allergy? Yeah. Well, if someone's getting constant, phlegm production, well, then that's the job of the immune system. You get something that irritate the mucous membranes, then yeah, of course they're going to want to push it out, and try to, have it come out of either the lungs or out of the, sinus cavities or anything like that. Try to push it out to try to eliminate it. But you also want to check and see, well, what could be insulting the immune system, first and foremost. So check your foods, check your stool. And just remember this, the reason why you want to check foods is it's not like some kind of, everybody thinks it's all like food related. And it's like, no, food will give you clues as far as kind of what's happening. Mm-hmm. So is it a tool? Yes, it's a tool in order to help remove a lot of stressors. There's no doubt about it. And that's why it's like, the biggest thing you have to do is remove some of the stressors, but when the doctor says, oh, it's just allergies, take Zyrtec, and I'm like, but can you please understand why this could be happening? So, but it's just like saying, put out a fire. Yeah. You got a fire, put the fire out. And I'm saying, can we figure out why the fire started in the first place? So that's why there may be some other things that could really play a role in it that could make someone have, a lot of postnasal drip, or, they're getting a lot, really phlegmy or something like that. There may be even an IgE food allergy. Who knows? It's impossible. Like, who knows? But this is why I would say testing is so important. Testing is so important. Misha, you're welcome. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you on. Okay, make sure you like and follow our page, and I appreciate we'll be going live tonight, probably about 6:30 for another question and answer too. So we are really Q&A in it.
Yes, we are.
Hardcore today. Yeah.
Oh, lots of people have lots of questions.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for your questions. I appreciate that. Yeah. Appreciate it. So when do we have we got an inflammatory inflammation event coming up?
December 2nd.
December 2nd. Okay. So guys, if you are from the Chicagoland area, you want to work with me personally, or you want to work with a different approach, then just make sure you go onto all of our socials. You'll see a Linktree profile. You see, go up to the top, Linktree profile, and then you'll see, if you click on that, the first thing to show up will be the page, and it'll vibrate. You'll see it vibrate, and it's the inflammation event. Get registered for that. And they'll just help you to see that there is a different perspective of how we look at it. So you just have to look at some things a little bit differently from a different perspective. Okay. We got another question. Did you hold your finger up?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Someone says thank you for your thoughts.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate the questions. Because every time I go live, I'm like, oh man, what if we're sitting here just twiddling our thumbs for the next 30 minutes?
We don't ever do that.
No. We're usually pretty busy, but yeah, I don't like sitting still. That's the thing. I don't like sitting still. If I want to do something, I want to make sure that I have that there's always a purpose behind it, So, yep. So, Paul from YouTube, I hope you get some help. Please reach out to a Wellness Way doctor if you can. I would really appreciate that. So, work with them, and they'll help you get the answers that you need. No doubt about it. Okay. All right. How long have we been live for? Oh, holy cow, 45 minutes. Time flies when you're having a great time, having fun. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and let's wrap this up. And then I'll be going live probably about 6:30. So in the next 2.5 hours or so. I'll be going live too. I'm going to be talking a little bit about, skin, a little bit about some other things. So should be good, but I'll be coming back on Facebook and on YouTube. Instagram, I won't be on. So this is the last time that you see me live for a little while. And should we go live on TikTok?
I'm always up for that. So.
Oh, yeah, I know. Maybe we will one day.
One day.
Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up if we should go live on TikTok.
Yeah. All right. Awesome, guys. All right. We'll see you guys very soon for our live video. Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you give us a like, give us a follow, and we'll see you guys very soon. All right. Be well. And hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. But please join us in a little bit for another live video coming up in just a couple of hours. Guys, be well, be blessed. Remember who you are.